My name is Jason Hamilton. I was a career changer before I started becoming a financial planner, and I joined XYPN in 2015. I wanted to make a career change. I did my CFP coursework ahead of time, and I started interviewing around and found out it just didn't really feel right to work in one of the big companies and to start at an REA. Living in Orange County, they were paying like $40,000. And so I was making, around $80,000 or $90,000 or $100,000 prior to that. So I said, well, why give away half my income when I could just start my own thing, just go slow? XYPN had this really cool model to be able to serve people from, high net worth people, also to people that might operate through like a monthly or a quarterly retainer. So I decided to join them, start my business, and I launched officially in February 2016. So I just crossed over 9 years of having my firm. First year, I worked full-time for the most part, and didn't really do a whole lot. When I was working full-time, I was able to bring on a couple clients, get busy, couldn't really market, and then, then I would finish with those and then get a couple more on. About 2017 or so, I decided to just quit my full-time job. I did some part-time things like speaking about finances at nonprofits and other like side jobs, Amazon, sales, flipping things from Goodwill and garage sales and things like that. And my practice honestly was struggling quite a bit to be able to get clients. And I think there's a lot of people that can relate to this. And so I really like helping people that are in that grind phase, maybe your first 100K, your first 200K, because once you can get to at least 100,000 of revenue, we know you're going to be, you're going to survive, you can pay the bills, and you're not going to go out of business like some other startup REA. So we're going to talk today about what changed my whole trajectory with my career, which is live streaming. And I started live streaming, it was around 2017, 2018, somewhere in that range. And I actually took a course on how to do digital marketing. So prior to that, I was reading every single book, trying to duct tape something together. Eventually paid for a course that taught me how to do live streaming, also how to market online, and how to do Facebook ads. So I was doing all those things at once, but I will say the live streaming is free. It is just something you have to commit to and show up to. And honestly, with what we're dealing with today, I actually think it's even more important because the number one topic on everybody's minds is AI and how it's going to impact, everybody as a whole. So AI today can pretty much write a blog for you. It can make your social media content. It can do a lot of things that you would not really have to be there for necessarily. And so we are in a place where what we're calling the trust recession, where it's just harder and harder to build trust these days than it used to be. So by live streaming and showing up and just being yourself, even if you make mistakes, even if you do weird things, it's you, it's who you are. And the really nice thing about that is people get to know you as a person. So if you do, or when you do, right, I think it's really important on how you say things. So when you schedule consultation calls and people have been on some of your live streams, they might have watched the videos that were done after the live streams as a post recording. They really feel like they know you and your personality. So a lot of times it's more so, will you take me as a client versus when I will get a lead through Yelp, for example, or through Google. I get people that are really interviewing sometimes 3 to 5 advisors, and they want me to sell myself to them. So it's just a real big mindset shift on how everything operates when it comes to your marketing and how you're interacting with prospective clients and also current clients. So I'm going to walk you through today really what I do. I'm going to give you a lot of good information here and help you really bypass a lot of the stuff I had to learn the hard way. So for me, personally, and I've been doing this, like I said, for 7 years. I've tried a lot of different platforms. Facebook is the best overall tool, in my opinion, to build your foundation on. I'm going to talk to you about many reasons for that. You can do the same thing we're talking about here today on LinkedIn, on Instagram, even on TikTok, even on X, now also known as Twitter. But for me, Facebook has a lot of tools, and it really becomes like this platform that you can utilize your live streams and also your content in many different ways. So we're going to talk about that today. So I'm also going to share with you how to get, do webinars and do Facebook Lives that convert, because you can put out information, but if nobody ever schedules a call with you, then that's not really all that helpful either. So all those things and quite a bit more we're going to go through today. So why Facebook Live matters for financial advisors. The first one is engaging your audience. So the goal of Facebook is to keep people on the platform, okay? So by you going live, that is something that is only going to be happening in that moment, right? This is where people can interact with you. They can ask questions. They can make comments, on what you're teaching about. You can even go live on multiple locations at the same time. So I'm going to go over some tools with you. So you can go on Zoom like we are today and Facebook Live at the same time, and something like Instagram, YouTube, or X, whatever you want to do. So you can do multi-streaming as well. But Facebook, I think there's a lot of tools there to talk about today. Number 2 is expanding your reach. Most of my clients, to be honest with you, are not local. I have clients in over 33 states, right? And it was up to over 40 that I've worked with over time, all the way from the tip of Florida. I've had clients in the North Pole, up in Alaska, Hawaii, Texas, California, and all in between. So you're really going to expand your reach, where if you're going to do something like, like chicken dinner / live workshops in person, you're going to have to bring in people locally. Generating leads actually becomes a whole lot easier because you can have people register for events if you want to. So if you can collect their emails if you like, and do some things like give them free PDF downloads or other tools by giving in their email, so you can generate leads through that. And then the 4th thing here is building your brand. And by going live and by speaking to things from the heart, it's going to help you show up as a true financial expert. When you have recorded videos, you can make them a whole lot more polished and a whole lot more perfect. But what's more impressive, if somebody can really speak to a subject because they are an expert in a particular niche, and they can really do it with confidence in a live format, or somebody who might be reading off a script, completely and have a recorded video. There's benefits to both, and I just think it's something that can really help you build your brand by doing things live. So why Facebook Live is a game changer? When you look at the stats, on average, you're going to get about 3 times more engagement with a live video than you will with a pre-recorded video. So I don't know if anybody here is already doing video or content anywhere, but how many of you have ever recorded the video, uploaded it to YouTube, and it's just crickets, right? So this is something where you, even if you don't have followers, Facebook will promote your videos beyond your little follower base there on your business page, because they want people to watch it. And by being consistent, the more consistent you are, the more they're going to promote it to other people that are not in your direct core follower audience. The studies show that 80% of people prefer live videos over blogs. And we know these days, they say the attention span of a goldfish is about 7 seconds. Well, the attention span of a human these days with all the social media, TikTok mentality is about 5 seconds. So we've really lost our attention span to sit there and read blogs or watch long videos. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think especially if you're going to work with the younger generation, being live and interacting with people and answering questions and just engaging is going to be more powerful. And on average, they're seeing about 20 times longer watch time. So the thing with the Facebook Live is that you can use this as your core content, and then you can create different pieces of content from that and then expand that across different platforms. And I'll talk a little bit about that in just a few moments. So for you, something you will need to sit down to do and is to say, hey, what's the right platform for your audience? Multi-streaming is great, and that's where I started, by just streaming it everywhere and saw, kind of what was, where I was getting the most engagement. What I like about Facebook is that people don't expect you to show up and everything being perfect. If you go to YouTube, people love like perfect video, angle cuts, everything just being fully optimized. Or Facebook is much more, you can show up in your office. I used to sit, embarrassingly, if you go back and look at my old videos, because I did post them to YouTube, I used to sit in my apartment when I started, back in 2016. I moved to a really low-cost end of town, and I got rid of my kitchen table. I put my business desk where the kitchen table was because I only had a 1-bedroom. I put a piece of paper hanging behind me for a background, and I just started, live streaming and creating content, and then just teaching what I knew to help people with what I thought they needed help with. So, starting with whatever your home base is going to be, Facebook makes it easier, I think, versus having to be so professional. And I think LinkedIn now is probably a good place as well for a lot of people here that might be wanting to work with a more professional audience. So LinkedIn is something I'm really exploring right now. I just haven't gone all in on it yet, but I am looking into that. So a couple things you'll need to have for Facebook. That this is where I get a lot of questions about from financial advisors of like, how do we start this, or where do I get started, right? So everybody has to have a personal page. I know a lot of people don't want to deal with Facebook, especially some of the younger generations. And for me, I actually think it's a good thing because you can still stay connected to people long term. But you have to have a personal page no matter what. And then from your personal page, then the next thing you're going to do is set up a business page. And that takes you literally about 5 minutes, okay? You want to fill out everything you can fill out there. But your business page, I recommend that you put your face, as the icon. So mine says Jason Hamilton -- keep it simple financial. I see people just doing straight business pages, but you have to remember that people don't connect with businesses, they connect with people. But it is called a business page on Facebook, and that's where you will have kind of your home base to be able to share content. If you want to do things like run ads, you will also need a business page, okay, to do that. From there, my secret weapon has been Facebook groups, okay? So I have a couple Facebook groups, and I had to do some testing before I got one that worked. But Facebook groups allow you to build a moat, right? So it's your own community that can be very niche, and I do recommend you do something very niche. Mine is general, okay, but I've been doing it for 7 or 8 years at this point, since 2017. I've had my group. So mine is very general. But if you have a really specific Facebook group for a very specific audience, and then you are the admin, if you do your Facebook Lives in there, and you're in there engaging and answering questions, you are going to show up as the expert. And it's kind of like, I call it the Wizard of Oz effect, where people just think you're an expert because you're the one showing up all the time, answering questions, and you have control over that community. And so that community that I have has allowed me to basically fish in my pond whenever I want to create more income. I was somebody, the title of this presentation is going from 0 to 250 in a couple years. And what I realized is once I got to about 20,000 a month of income, I was pretty comfortable. And prior to doing this, I was in the corporate world as a manager working like 10-hour days, 5-6 days a week. I would only get 1 weekend off every 6 weeks. So for me, going to this career was more about creating freedom, right? That was my initial thing, okay? So once I got to about 250, I kind of slowed things down a little bit, and I just started to take certain clients as we went. But the Facebook group strategy is super powerful and can be something that you can own. Amy, did you want to ask a question?
Yes, we did get some questions when we started talking about this, so I want to spend some time here and make sure we get these answered while we're on it. So just quick clarification, 80% of consumers prefer live streaming to blogs or vlogs. They just want clarity on that.
To blogs, yeah, to like reading basically, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So live content. And then for these live streams that you're doing, do you have a pre-planned presentation, or is it more like freeform? And maybe you're going to get into this more, but if you don't mind answering that real quick, that'd be great. Yeah,
so I do have pre-planned. I am going to get into this, and it's pre-planned with flexibility is what I'll say, right? Because you don't want to be reading like a script, the whole time, okay? You want to have your subject and your main points, and then make it engaging, and that's where you bring your personality in, right? And that's what makes it special. But I will tell you this. When I first started this, I did one every single week for 2.5 years, okay? Literally did not miss a week. So that's, I don't know how many that is, over 100, okay? 100 and something videos, plus, and then some in between, right? And I would create every one of these from content that I created from scratch, and it would take me about 4 hours a week to do this. At a minimum. And then you have to do the video, then edit the video, then post it. It was like, this is an 8-hour-a-week process at that time. But now with AI, I can put something together. I'm going to show you, I have something really cool prepared to show you guys how to do this and get something prepared in probably 20 minutes so that you can start with today and then just fine tune and make it your own. So always want to have pre-planned, and we'll get to the specifics. I'm going to talk about that, but you want to have a specific format, and I'm going to walk you through that.
Okay. Perfect. And then another clarifying question. Are you going live in the group or going live on your business page? Do you have a recommendation there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there's different ways to approach it, and it's kind of what strategy that you want to do, right? So if you go live to your page, that's fully public. So that could be something that's going to be out to the public and that can be found, forever. If you go live to your group only, then it can make it more like a community, like a fireside type of thing where it's very personal for that group. So a strategy I've used over time is to my email list, I would send, hey, we're going to do this workshop teaching on this subject, but only in the Facebook group. Come join the group if you want to learn. And so it becomes exclusive to where only people in the group get to join those particular workshops. And those I make like the best I possibly can because I'm doing that for my community, right? And so the whole goal of this is to build community. Right? If you build community, you help enough people, the money will take care of itself. You really have to just trust in that, and that's how it will work. But I think there's different strategies for different goals of your particular presentation.
Great. Just a couple more real quick, Jason. And then, so is there a way to target a niche? I think you're saying that like this group can be like financial advice for doctors with high amounts of student loan debt. Obviously, that's too long.
Right.
But the niche can be within the group, right? Is what you're saying.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. And then, okay. I think we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of some of these other questions. So I'm going to let you keep going. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'll probably cover a good amount. And I'm going to walk you through a strategy to do it all too. So, so that's Facebook groups. Instagram, is a kind of a different beast. I'm not really great at Instagram, but young people that I know are really good at that, and they just get it more than I, because I think it's more of a younger audience. I work with mostly an older audience, usually 50 plus, and they really love education, and they really enjoy learning something very specific to their problems. We're going to talk about that in a second. Instagram is a great place that you probably get a lot more engagement, but that's just not my forte for the younger audiences for the most part. And then LinkedIn, I think that's really interesting. So with both, wherever you go, here's what I recommend is to create basically your own weekly show. Okay. So what I did was every Sunday at 2 p.m., I would be doing my live education. And I found that time by actually polling my audience, polling my email list, polling the group members, polling people on my page. And I found out that a lot of people really would want to come on Sunday at 2 p.m. Because if they are trying to plan for retirement, then they're usually working Monday through Friday for the most part, right? So that allows people on the West Coast to come and also the East Coast to come because it's a reasonable hour. If you're doing 2 p.m. during the week, then people on the West Coast will probably not be able to show up. So, but on LinkedIn Live, I think it's really interesting as well to create a weekly show on to your specific niche. So that is something I'm exploring. But whatever you do, it's really about consistency and doing something every single week at the same time, because the algorithm sees that. And learning how to manipulate the algorithm in your favor is really a big part of getting to a wider audience if you're starting at 0 followers today, because we all started at 0 followers, by the way. So that is something that when I had about 500 followers, my videos would get 3,000 or 4,000 views sometimes because Facebook would promote them outside my audience. And then at the end of my lives, I would invite people back to follow my page, join the group, or schedule a call with me. And I was able to get to a wider audience that way. So let's get to a little bit of the nuts and bolts here, because that's some of the questions we want to get to. And I want you to walk away today with an actual action plan and something you can really put into practice now. So preparation is key, okay? So you want to define what your objective is, okay? I really focus on education, okay? Education for me is a foundation. There is a philosophy that you might have heard of, a book called Think and Grow Rich. I believe in a philosophy called Teach and Grow Rich, where if you just help people address their specific problems and you can put their problems into more clear, articulate words than they can do themselves, then you're automatically going to build authority and you're automatically going to show up as an expert. Okay, so that is really, really important. So when I say the next point here is to know your audience, you want to tailor your content to the goals and pain points of your audience. So what I recommend if you're going to get started is to create an idea vault. And using AI and Google to generate ideas is so easy now. We did not have this when I was starting out. I had to really do research, on a lot of these things and do polls. But you can use AI, and I'm going to show you some examples here to have a conversation with and talk about those problems. You can also use Google to do the same thing. Google actually has a really cool search feature, which I'll show you as well. But you want to create an idea vault, okay? And then from there, you want to make each presentation or each live about one very specific problem. And then so you state what the problem is, and the key is put the title of the presentation as the problem in your ideal client's own words. So if you are sitting with people on prospect calls and they're saying, I'm really concerned about paying too much in taxes in retirement, well then what do you think your presentation should be? How to avoid paying too many taxes in retirement, right? You don't have to overcomplicate this. This doesn't have to be super technical, and actually it's better if you keep it simple. The name of my firm is Keep It Simple Financial Planning. Do I deal with very, very complex situations? Yes, I do. But what I always try to do is bring it back to simple, because people are coming to you for you to simplify things and make it easy for them to understand so that they don't have to worry about it or stress about it anymore, right? So there's beauty in simplicity, and I think simplicity is the ultimate sophistication of personal finance. So that's what I put on my tagline in my emails. And if you can simplify things for people and they can say, oh, I get it. John explained it to me, or Amy explained it to me in a way, it just made sense. They're going to reach out to you and say, hey, I have this problem. Do you think you could help me? And this is where you open an opportunity for prospect calls and to generate business for yourself. So creating the outline, what I recommend is title being the very specific words that you've heard people use. Then I recommend you have 3 to 5 key talking points, okay? I like using slides like I'm using here because I think it keeps people on track, and sometimes, people will, they can read and listen, and you're addressing different types of learners, right? So some people are audio, some people are visual, some people are more kinesthetic where they have to do things, but you want to try to hit as many points as you can. And then the key there with that is address the pain points, and then you want to make sure that you help people understand, here's what happens if you get this right. Here's what could happen if you get this wrong. And I really like to use a sample case study of someone I've helped or what it would look like if I help somebody to really show them, hey, could this really fit your direct situation? And then from there, I'll invite them to book a call, right? So the outline should be title, 3 key points to 5 key points, what it could look like if they get it right, what it could look like if they get it wrong, and then a case study to show what it could look like or how you helped somebody before. And me, when I was starting out as a career changer, I didn't have any case studies. I just showed here's what it would look like. But now I use real case studies and show here's how I helped the client. And then that, again, goes back to building your authority, right? So last point here is schedule and promote. I always recommend you schedule at least a week in advance, not too much because people forget, So by putting, let's say you have a Facebook group, you can create an event in the group, and then that group will go in there and people will say, that they want to go to the event or they're interested, and then Facebook will send them reminders. You can also send multiple emails to people on your email list that do sign up for the event, and you just want to promote it everywhere, basically, everywhere that you have social media. And then, that's kind of the hardest part initially is promoting it, but schedule at least a week in advance, promote it everywhere you can, and then try to reward people for showing up live somehow. So for me, it's like a live Q&A that they can get to, or sometimes I give away free resources as well. Okay, so now tools, okay? I don't want you to overthink this. I'm gonna give you this information here, but you do not have to make it complicated. I think you could sit down if you have a good camera on your laptop and a good microphone. That is something I would highly recommend, is a good microphone, okay? And you'd be just fine. And to be honest with you, a lot of my content would convert better with a worse camera. But now that I have an editor that will repurpose things for shorts and reels, those type of things, I do use a better camera. So the one you're seeing me use today is a DSLR. It's a Sony Alpha ZV-E10. But I do think, an HD webcam of some sort, a lot of people, there's all kinds, Brio, Sony Brio. There's a bunch of different ones you can use. But I don't think you need anything too fancy, okay? But your microphone is important because the sound is actually really, really important, more important than the video. I started with the Blue Yeti. I got it for $80. And then I used, I forget what kind of camera, it was like a Logitech, I think what it was. I paid another $60 for a Logitech. And I got a $15, you can go to a photo store and have a backdrop that's paper. It's just like a big paper roll, like a big paper towel roll kind of. And I hung that on my ceiling, dropped it behind me, and used that for about 3 years, okay? Very, very simple. And we don't have to overdo this, okay? And do I do fancy things now? Yes, but I've been doing this for a long time. The other thing is your lighting, okay? So I highly recommend you invest in some sort of lighting. Again, it does not need to be expensive. I use a key light today, okay? And that's like $180 or something like that. And I just like that because I can do it all from my phone and it's more clean in my home office. But I started with what's called a China ball. And a China ball is just a big paper ball. I literally still have it in my closet over here that I've had for 7 or 8 years. And if you get a China ball with some good pure white lighting and you hang that in front of you, it's going to create a great amount of lighting because the lighting is actually more important than the camera, by the way. You can have a decent camera with great lighting and your picture is going to look good. So don't overthink it. You can get a China ball for $10 to $20. You can get the light bulbs that go in it for probably another $30 and get a good microphone for $80 to $100. And that's all you really need to get started, okay? But if you are going to do things like an external camera, make sure you get a good sturdy tripod. You don't want to have a weird video or something collapsing while you're doing videos. And believe me, it's happened to me before. A clean backdrop. Again, I have something fancy back here. I have some sticks on the wall we built. I have some little bit of lighting on it. You don't need to do all that. It's just what I do today because I felt like getting fancy. And honestly, I think it's actually worse for conversions than it is when I just sit in my office and just do a video from my office, to be honest with you. I do recommend you check out a teleprompter though, because there might be certain things, especially as you're getting started, that you want to make sure you hit the key points. So I'm looking into a teleprompter at my slides right now, but would you really know if I was or not, right? I don't have any other content up because I'm speaking from the heart about everything else, but I do have my bullet points here, what I'm going to talk about today, and everything else is just what I know, and that's what I recommend for you. Software tools. Hey, if you are not a Mac user, I believe enough in this tool called Ecamm Live that you should just buy a Mac and so you can use Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live is only on Mac. I would recommend that. I've been using it for 7 or 8 years. It's the best tool by far. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. And I'll show you a couple things in a few moments here. But you don't have to. You can use Zoom to start. Restream is good. I used that for a number of years. And Restream, you can stream to different places. You can use StreamYard or OBS if you are on a PC. Another thing is Facebook Event Scheduler. Always want to use the event schedule on Facebook because it will continue to remind people and it'll annoy them for you so you don't have to do it yourself. There in Facebook Insights and Analytics, you can see how long people watched your video, how many people watched. So it's a really good tool to kind of gauge what did well and what didn't do well. We're going to talk about these two things today. I'm going to show you how to use them very simply to create presentations in lightning speed. But Poe.com, so you've probably heard of ChatGPT. If you use Poe.com, it's an AI aggregator. So it includes ChatGPT for about the same price. I pay $20 a month for it. And then you also get about 40 or 50 other AIs to help you create videos or pictures. And you can use different types of AI like Grok or Claude or other different ones. But it's all included for that one price. So I do recommend Poe. And then this is a new one that I haven't actually told anybody about this yet. I'm sharing this with you guys today because I knew we were doing this. This is a game changer. It's called Gamma.app to create presentations with AI. I think I will blow your mind with what I'm going to show you with how to create presentations. I used to have to sit there, create stuff, copy paste it into like a PowerPoint or some other tool, and it would just take an hour. Okay. So it's really, really amazing what's available now. I'm going to show you some very fun things. We're getting close to the end here, but the big thing is to engage people and to deliver value. So you always want to start your video off, right, with some sort of hook, or your title with some sort of hook. All right, so I think XYPN did a great job. It's like how I started live streaming and went from 0 to 250,000 revenue in like 2.5 years or less. That to me is interesting. If I'm starting a firm, like that sounds great. So you want to have a good, strong hook like that. I think that's great. And then just be authentic. You see me today. I'm speaking naturally. My goal is just to sit here and connect with you and share my personal experience. And am I maybe stuttering here or there, saying an or an it happens. But I'm just being as authentic as I can because I think that helps me connect with you. Using visuals, people love visuals. 60 or 70% of people are visual learners. So bringing in some visuals, that's why I like slides like this. It helps engage different types of people, but some slides, some charts, examples, all very good. And then as Amy had brought in, answering some questions in real time. We're going to do some more of this after. And then at the end, always ending with a clear next step, so a call to action. And what I recommend is you generally invite people to schedule a complimentary consultation with you. That has just been the best CTA that I've done over time. I've tried here, download my thing or join this email list or whatever. But at the end of the day, we're trying to help people. And if somebody just spent 30 minutes with you or 45 minutes with you watching a live workshop and they watched to the end, and they saw your call to action at the end, that's probably one of the most qualified leads you can possibly have. So don't be scared to invite people and ask for people to come have a consultation with you. I recommend you do it for free, but come and get to know you and then let them know how you're going to help them, right? So I always say, I would love to invite you to join me on a retirement discovery call. And on this call, we're going to do 3 things. We're going to help you get really clear on your current financial status. We're going to help you understand where you might need to go to optimize your current financial situation. And then from there, if you want our help, we can talk about what that next step might be. But if you want to take the game plan we give you, you can take that and have that on your own. It's no cost to you, right? So that has just been a really wonderful way to get people on calls, meet people, very low barrier. And it's, again, grow my firm. I think we're at like a little over 60 million at this point, plus another 6 figures plus in retainer revenue. And I work about 6 months a year full time. I just work a lot more when I want to generate more money, but relatively comfortable at this point. Okay, so now we're going to talk about maximizing your reach with this. You don't want to just do a live and then just like let it die, okay? Or just hope people show up when you go live. You want to make sure you're posting it on social media. Send email invitations, right? Send to your prospect list, send to your client list, and then ask them to send it to their friends that may be interested. You can show teasers, right? You can put up things before saying, hey, here's what we're going to talk about this Friday. We're going to talk about A, B, and C, maybe share a couple slides, do a short video, do a short live video, maybe 30 seconds, just engaging people and letting them know what's coming. And then I recommend you use Facebook ads to continue to promote your content before and after, but that's a whole nother conversation. That's way beyond the scope today. But using Facebook ads actually are very easy now, and you can expand the reach of that content you put so much time and effort into. So how to extend the life of your live video. First thing you want to do is record a live, and if you use a platform like Ecamm Live, it actually records an HD copy for you, and actually record multiple camera angles and like the main screen all separate. And then you can edit those, or you can give them to an editor to make it look pretty, right? Cut out the ums and uhs, cut out the beginning, anything that you messed up. So you're gonna take that live video, put that to YouTube. And then you're gonna take that long form and throw it in a tool like Opus Clip or Descript or CapCut. Opus Clip will create 15 to 20 nice 1-minute reels for you that have a rating on how likely they are to go viral. Descript is another tool that I know people really like a lot that makes this something similar and kind of easy. You could take the transcript and then put that into something like AI and then create some sort of guide and offer that as a free resource. And then again, use AI to create more social content from the transcript and continue to push all that around. I personally have a full-time editor that I hire that he's in Philippines, and I pay him about $800 a month to take my long form stuff, chop it up, edit it, post it everywhere, and edit that long form and make sure everything looks pretty for me. I used to do it all myself, but now as you get to a certain size of firm, time becomes more valuable than money, and so it makes way more sense for me to pay him $800 than for me to be spending 20 hours on it per month, right? That if you break that down, that doesn't make sense for me. So you can start to create yourself a little ecosystem here. So what I've learned as a Facebook Live host, a couple takeaways here, is that consistency builds trust. Showing up every single week at the same time, it just builds trust and really creates a loyal audience. I have people that have watched me for years before they came and actually booked a call with me, and I have people that book a call after the first video that they watch. And then I have people that go back and watch old videos, okay? Facebook did a recent update which deletes all of your live videos after 30 days. That's why I recommend you download the copy and get another copy somewhere so that you can repurpose it. But prior to this most recent update, which just went into place like this month or last month, I have people that watch live videos from 4, 5, 6 years ago that will book a call with me and say, hey, I know the information was outdated, but I have this problem. Can you help me with this problem? So then you have this whole, like just a big old vault of content of all things that you've helped people with or very specific problems. And you can put those on your blog too, by the way. Authenticity beats perfection. I'm making mistakes here. I'm stuttering. I'm saying ums and uhs. You are what makes the difference. When AI comes out, that's going to be a perfect copy of you making videos. It's going to be so perfect, it's going to be weird. So by showing up authentically, by showing up in your normal clothes, in your office, putting your phone up, or doing something that is just really just you, you're going to have a lot more people that engage and that are happy to engage with their content than making everything so perfect. You want to respond to all questions and comments. When I'm doing a Facebook Live in my group, I will do more breakup in the middle because I don't have a limit on time per se. Today we have a limit on time, so I want to get through the core content before I go to Q&A. But normally in the middle, I would be asking things like, hey, where are you from? Post a comment in there. Let me know what's on your mind or why you joined this today. And then I'll ask people, I'll do quizzes sometimes. I'll do a quiz and say, hey, what did you take away from this? Or I'll ask actually questions from the content that I taught. Like I'll teach about Social Security, for example, and I'll say, okay, what age is full retirement age? Or when does Social Security start? And I'll put little polls up. These are all things you can do to engage your audience. And then, always test your equipment before going live. Honestly, I did a live last couple weeks ago for some other financial advisors on how to do Facebook group marketing, and everything was not working. So I had to just figure it out and make it work. So today it seems like everything's working, which is beautiful, but the things don't always work, so always test before you go live. So taking action is the biggest thing. One thing I see, and this is me going to be really raw with you, with financial advisors, they love to show up on webinars. They love to learn. But very rarely do they ever put things into practice. And if they do, very rarely will they ever put it into practice for a long period of time and figure it out. They usually give up pretty quickly. I see this a lot, okay? So if you want to stand out from the crowd, let me ask you, how many people do you know that are writing blogs and doing little short videos and posting things like that? Probably a lot. How many do you know that are doing live video? Probably almost none, because it's super uncomfortable and it's really hard to do. But what I will tell you is, anytime you're doing something like creating video, if you do 50 videos, 50 lives, 50 recorded videos, whatever you want to do, by that 51st video, and if you watch that 51st video and you go back to your first video, it's going to be night and day for you. But you have to commit. 50 videos is a lot. One a week, that's about a year of being consistent, right? So I want you to just start by just going live. And that was the other reason I went live, because I was doing YouTube recordings and I was just stopping and pausing and restarting. It was taking forever to make a video. I just started making it live, and then I would just clip it later, edit it later. It was no problem. So I want you to leave the session and plan to host your first live, plan to promote it across your email list, get the basic tools in place. If you have a Mac, get Ecamm Live. I highly recommend it. I think it's not much. It's like $20 a month or something like that. Get a good microphone, get some good lighting, and learn about something called 3-point lighting, where you have backlighting. So you have lighting on my back wall here. I have lighting on the front of me. Then I have a window on this side. So we're going to have 3 points of light. So 2 on the front, 1 in the back to create that separation. And then just choose your platform that you think is the right one, or multi-stream. You can use Ecamm Live, and you can go to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn all at the same time. That's what I did for about 6 months, until I found out Facebook was the only one that was converting for me. So that's what I have for you for a presentation. I'm going to show you a couple things today. We'll answer some questions. Yeah. So at last year's XYPN Live, I taught about how to use Facebook ads to generate leads. And I had a lot of questions about it. So I started a free Facebook group that I kind of go about once a month, and I do trainings and workshops, and I will answer your questions. It's called Financial Advisor Leads Unlocking the Floodgates. So if you go to facebook.com/groups/unlocking the floodgates, you can join. It's completely free. And then there's my email and my website if you want to contact me through that.